If you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it, because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another. I mean, maybe I'll be the same people, but it isn't going to do anything. If I've got all the Bitcoin, I'm back where whatever his name was, who may or may not have existed, was 15 years ago. If I've got it all, he could create a mystery about it. But everybody knows what I'm like. I mean, so if I'm trying to get rid of it, people will say, well, why should I buy some Bitcoin from you? I mean, why don't you call it Buffett coin? Make your own or something. Do something. But I'm not going to give you anything for it.
Warren Buffett, one of the most legendary investors of all time, famously declared he wouldn't take all the Bitcoin in the world, not even for $25. Bold statement, right? But here's the twist. Bitcoin is currently trading at approximately 91,263 USD. Keep in mind, though, this is an approximate figure, and the price might have shifted by the time you're watching this video. So, is Buffett onto something, or could this digital asset be your gateway to building generational wealth? Let's find out. Bitcoin isn't just a buzzword. It's the best-performing financial instrument of the past 2 decades, with gains that leave traditional investments like the S&P 500 in the dust. Yet, it remains one of the most polarizing topics in the financial world. For every enthusiast predicting million-dollar valuations, there's a skeptic warning of its eventual downfall. But here's the question. Could dismissing Bitcoin today be one of the biggest financial mistakes of our time? As its mainstream adoption grows, Bitcoin is transforming from a speculative asset into a cornerstone of modern investment portfolios. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting, understanding what's happening with Bitcoin right now is essential. Stick around as we dive into why this digital currency could redefine the future of finance. Don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Economy Explorer to stay ahead in the world of business, economy, and investment. The recent Bitcoin surge. Bitcoin's latest surge has left even the most seasoned investors stunned. At approximately 91,263 US dollars, its current valuation marks an incredible rebound and growth trajectory. But what's driving this meteoric rise? Let's uncover the forces reshaping the financial landscape and pushing Bitcoin into uncharted territory. A shift in policy sparks optimism. The recent political climate has played a pivotal role in Bitcoin's ascent. With the new administration in the U.S. signaling support for cryptocurrency innovation, investor confidence has soared. The approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs, such as BlackRock's, has funneled billions of dollars into the market. In fact, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF alone has seen an influx of over $13 billion since its launch. These ETFs make Bitcoin more accessible to everyday investors, giving it a legitimacy previously reserved for traditional financial instruments. Could this be the moment when Bitcoin moves from fringe to mainstream? Institutional confidence takes center stage. Institutional interest is another major driver. Companies like MicroStrategy have doubled down on Bitcoin, announcing plans to raise $1.75 billion through convertible bonds to increase their holdings. Think about it. If major corporations are placing billion-dollar bets on Bitcoin, what does that say about its potential? It's not just a speculative play anymore. It's becoming a foundational asset for corporate treasuries. As these moves ripple through the market, the demand for Bitcoin continues to surge. Scarcity meets demand. What makes Bitcoin so unique in the financial ecosystem? Its capped supply. With only 21 million Bitcoins ever to exist, scarcity is hardwired into its DNA. This digital gold analogy resonates with both individual and institutional investors looking for a hedge against inflation and the unpredictable global economy. The result? An asset that thrives when traditional markets falter. And this is just the beginning. As we explore Bitcoin's deeper role in today's economy, you'll see why so many are calling this the financial opportunity of the decade. Stay tuned, because the next part dives into what Buffett might have missed. Why Buffett might be wrong. Warren Buffett's disdain for Bitcoin is no secret. He's called it rat poison and dismissed it as a speculative gamble. But could his skepticism stem from viewing Bitcoin through a traditional lens rather than embracing the transformative potential of this digital innovation? Let's break it down. The power of scarcity. Imagine owning a resource so finite that its very existence commands value. This is the essence of Bitcoin. With only 21 million coins ever to exist, Bitcoin's capped supply creates a built-in scarcity. Compare this to fiat currencies, which central banks can print at will, eroding their value over time. Historically, scarce assets like gold have been prized for their stability during economic uncertainty. Bitcoin builds on this legacy, offering a digital alternative that's more portable, divisible, and resilient. For an investor like the Buffett, whose portfolio has historically relied on tangible assets, this might feel too abstract, but the numbers don't lie. A legacy of outperformance. Since its inception in 2009, Bitcoin has outpaced nearly every asset class, delivering a staggering compound annual growth rate of over 100%. To put this in perspective, it has outperformed the S&P 500 tenfold over the last decade. Critics often point to its volatility, but long-term holders, or hodlers, have consistently come out ahead. Could it be that Buffett, a champion of patience in investing, is overlooking Bitcoin's potential because it doesn't fit the mold of his past successes? Adoption and integration. One of Buffett's arguments against Bitcoin is its lack of utility. "What can you do with it?" he famously asked. Yet, in recent years, Bitcoin has evolved beyond speculation. Major corporations, from Tesla to Block, have integrated Bitcoin into their balance sheets. Countries like El Salvador have adopted it as legal tender, and payment platforms such as PayPal and Visa now support Bitcoin transactions. The network effect is undeniable. The more widely Bitcoin is adopted, the more its value proposition strengthens. What's more, Bitcoin's decentralized nature offers a hedge against systemic risks, a concept that feels increasingly relevant in a world of economic instability. Shifting investor demographics. Perhaps one of the most overlooked factors is generational. Millennials and Gen Z, who are inheriting trillions in wealth, overwhelmingly favor digital assets like Bitcoin over traditional investments. This demographic shift represents a tidal wave of demand that could reshape the investment landscape. While Buffett's perspective is rooted in a bygone era, today's investors are betting on the future. There's more to unpack here. Bitcoin's resilience in volatile markets and its role as digital gold are just the beginning. Coming up, we'll examine the risks and rewards of this revolutionary asset and how to navigate its unpredictable waters. Stay with us. The risks and volatility of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's rise to prominence is nothing short of extraordinary, but it's far from a smooth ride. For every story of massive gains, there's one of gut-wrenching losses. So, what makes Bitcoin so volatile, and how can investors navigate its unpredictable waters? A history of roller coaster moves. Imagine investing in an asset that could double your money in months, but also slash its value by 50% overnight. That's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Since its inception, Bitcoin has experienced massive price swings, some driven by market speculation, others by external events like regulatory crackdowns or macroeconomic shifts. For instance, in 2017, Bitcoin skyrocketed to nearly $20,000 before plummeting to $3,000 the following year. And while its current price of approximately $91,263 reflects renewed optimism, history reminds us that these gains can quickly turn into sharp corrections. Regulatory uncertainty. One of Bitcoin's biggest challenges is its relationship with governments and regulators. While some countries, like El Salvador, embrace it as legal tender, others impose strict regulations or outright bans. In the U.S., shifting political landscapes add to the uncertainty. For instance, recent pro-crypto policies have buoyed prices, but a sudden regulatory pivot could send shockwaves through the market. Investors must stay vigilant, as regulatory news often triggers significant price movements. Market manipulation and lack of oversight. Bitcoin operates in a relatively young and unregulated market, making it vulnerable to manipulation. Whales, individuals or entities holding large amounts of Bitcoin, can significantly influence prices by buying or selling in bulk. Additionally, speculative hype, often fueled by social media, can create bubbles that burst as quickly as they form. For retail investors, distinguishing between genuine trends and speculative frenzy is a constant challenge. Emotional investing. The psychological aspect of Bitcoin trading can't be ignored. Its dramatic price fluctuations often trigger emotions like fear and greed, leading investors to buy high and sell low. The fear of missing out, FOMO, during bull runs or panic selling during downturns can erode gains and amplify losses. Seasoned investors often stress the importance of staying disciplined and not letting emotions dictate their decisions. The bright side of volatility. Yet, volatility isn't all bad. For those with a long-term perspective, Bitcoin's historical recoveries after downturns have often rewarded patience. Its limited supply and increasing adoption continue to attract institutional interest, which could stabilize prices over time. But this stability is still a work in progress. As we move forward, we'll explore how Bitcoin fits into today's economy and why its unique attributes make it a standout in the financial world. Stick around. You won't want to miss what's next. How Bitcoin fits into today's economy. Picture this: a world where central banks print money at unprecedented rates and inflation chips away at the value of your savings. In this volatile economic landscape, Bitcoin emerges not as a speculative gamble, but as a potential solution to systemic issues in traditional finance. So, how does Bitcoin fit into the economy of today? Let's explore. A hedge against inflation. With global inflation rates climbing in recent years, Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins offers a stark contrast to fiat currencies, which can be printed endlessly. Think of Bitcoin as a digital version of gold, a safe haven asset immune to the whims of central banks. While gold has historically been the go-to hedge, Bitcoin's portability, divisibility, and global accessibility make it an appealing alternative in the digital age. For investors seeking to protect their wealth, this unique combination of scarcity and utility has positioned Bitcoin as a critical player in combating inflation. A tool for financial inclusion. In many parts of the world, people lack access to traditional banking systems. Enter Bitcoin, a decentralized currency that operates without intermediaries. All you need is an internet connection to participate. In countries like Venezuela and Nigeria, where economic instability has rendered local currencies nearly worthless, Bitcoin provides a lifeline, enabling individuals to preserve value and conduct transactions without relying on failing institutions. It's more than an investment, it's empowerment for millions. A new reserve asset? Here's a bold idea: Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Some governments and corporations are already moving in this direction. El Salvador famously adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, and Tesla holds Bitcoin as part of its treasury reserves. Could Bitcoin become a standard reserve asset like the US dollar or gold? While it's still early days, the growing institutional adoption suggests we might be heading in that direction. This trend has the potential to reshape global financial systems, challenging the dominance of traditional currencies. The network effect. Bitcoin's value isn't just tied to its scarcity, it's also about adoption. The more people, businesses, and institutions that use Bitcoin, the stronger its network becomes. Payment platforms like Visa and PayPal now support Bitcoin transactions, making it easier for everyday users to integrate it into their financial lives. As adoption grows, so does Bitcoin's relevance in the economy. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin's role in the financial world is still evolving, and its future remains uncertain. Up next, we'll explore how this digital asset could redefine long-term investment strategies. In the 1990s, few people believed the internet would transform the world. Skeptics scoffed, calling it a fad, much like Bitcoin critics today. Yet, here we are, living in a digital-first world where the internet is indispensable. Could Bitcoin follow a similar trajectory? Could this decentralized digital currency become just as integral to our financial future? Bitcoin's journey from obscurity to becoming a $91,263 powerhouse showcases its resilience and potential. It's not just a currency, it's a movement challenging the status quo of traditional finance. With its fixed supply and increasing adoption, Bitcoin is forcing even its harshest critics to take notice. The question is, are you ready to see the opportunities that lie ahead, or will you sit on the sidelines as this revolution unfolds? For some, Bitcoin is a speculative gamble. For others, it's a hedge against inflation, a tool for financial inclusion, and a technological breakthrough all rolled into one. Its volatility can be daunting, but history shows that the greatest rewards often come with calculated risks. Will you embrace the future of finance or cling to the systems of the past? As you consider Bitcoin's role in your financial strategy, think about what it represents: innovation, scarcity, and a growing community of believers. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Bitcoin's potential? Is it the digital gold of our time, or just another bubble waiting to burst? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Economy Explorer for more insights that empower your financial decisions. The journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning.